Okay, these are questions that have come from the Math 110 online course, and I'm going to start with, this is, excuse me, let me move this over. This is 3.1, oops, that's why I can't see it. 3.1, number 87 in the book, number, I didn't see it, hold on, number 19 online. So 387 in the book, number 19 online. And I'm looking at the problem. It looks like more of a drill type problem than a test type problem. Something happened to it. Where'd it go? Let me see what's in here. Yeah, there it is. Because I usually, the only radical problems I do, solutions or conjugations, or not conjugations, but rationalizing the denominator or the numerator. I usually don't get into these. This looks more like a proof type question. Anyway, let's go ahead, and since it's asking for the square root, we'll assume we're going to square it because the opposite of the square root is the square. And they're asking if it's a square root. So we'll go ahead and square the square root of 2 over 2 plus the square root of 2 over 2i. And that's the problem that's given. We're going to square it. And the reason we're going to square it is, what's the square root of 4? 2. So you're seeing it as the square root of I. So that's why you kind of do the opposite. So I'm going to square, which gives you shortcut number 2. Shortcut number 2 says a square root of 2 over 2 squared, a squared, plus 2ab plus times b squared, square root of 2 squared I squared, plus the square root of b squared, square root of 2 over 2i is going to be squared. Shortcut number 1. And if you still haven't learned your shortcuts, then I'm sorry. You either need to drop or you need to get to learning them, because they're going to follow you all the way through your mathematical career, like I told you in the last homework section. Now, when you do this, the square root of 2 over 2, what happens there? The square root of 2 over 2 gives you what? 2 over 4, because the square root cancels there. Basically, you're doing this. Square root squared over 2 squared. That's what you're doing. You're distributing that 2 using the power rule of exponents. And that gives you 2 over 4. Okay? Plus, let's see what happens here. I'm just going to write this as 2 over 1, square root of 2 over 2, and then I'm going to do this one. Now, again, here, here, and here. So that's going to be times 2 over 4 and I squared. Now remember, as I showed you in the other homework problem the other day, the square root of I, or the square root of negative 1, is equal to I. I squared is equal to negative 1. You got to remember that when you're dealing with I. Okay? Plus, and again, that's going to be 2 over 4 I squared. Now I'm going to take my red pen out because I think there's going to be some canceling right in here. Because that cancels here, and that cancels to 1, and this cancels to 2. And of course, these cancel to 1/2, and this cancels to 1/2. So I'm trying to see what we're actually going to get here. Now remember, this guy right here, I'm going to do it in blue. This guy right here equals what? Negative 1. And this guy right here equals negative 1. So you got to be careful there. I'm looking to make sure I didn't make a mistake, but I think I made a mistake somewhere. Hold on. Oh, I know what I did. I made a mistake. Hold on. I squared something that didn't need to be squared. Hold on. I knew that square didn't look right. Okay, this is equal to -1. All right, let me go back here. This is not squared. Sorry. There. Okay, I knew something wasn't right. Okay. A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. I don't know why I squared that. That was just a mental mistake. I don't know why I did that. See what happens if you don't do your shortcuts correctly or you don't know them? Messes you up. I know them, I just made a mistake. All right, then that leaves us with -1 times 1/2 is what? -1/2? Let's see. That's 1/2 right here. And then we're going to have that. Ooh, look at here. These two. Okay, that 2, 1/2, -1. So that's going to be -1/2 and 1/2. It looks like they cancel. I'm looking to make sure I still haven't done something wrong. Well, I've got a square root of 2 there that doesn't look right. I see. I don't know why I went crazy on this one right here. I did 2 things wrong. There we go. And that doesn't cancel. Let me rewrite that one because I kind of messed that one up. I don't know why I messed that one up. This one right here, I messed up. Okay, let me redo that. This right here is 2 over 4 plus 2 over 1 square root of 2 over 2. And this is square root of 2 over 2 with an I. And I had it as I squared. I don't know why I had it squared. And this is 2 over 4 I squared. Okay. Now let's take out the red pen. And this is 1/2. And plus, okay, the 2's cancel. And the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, which is what? 2. So I'm just going to make this, I'm just going to hold that, but this is going to equal 2. Okay? Square root of 4. Okay, that's going to equal the square root of 4. And that's a 1. I'm looking to make sure I haven't messed up anything else. So that gives us 1/2, and all that's pretty much going to cancel because this is the square root of 4, which is 2. And that 2 cancels with that 2. So you're left with I. That's what you're supposed to have. I'm sorry. Plus I. All that cancels. Basically, this cancels, and this cancels, and you're left with I. Plus 1/2 I squared. Now remember, I squared is equal to -1. So -1 times 1/2 is -1/2. So now you've got 1/2 plus I plus I. -1 times 1/2 is -1/2. And -1/2 cancels, and that leaves you with I. So yes, it is the square root of I. Okay? That's it. Because you came out with I. See, right here. Okay. Not a question I would probably put on a test because 1 is confusing. It's confusing before you even started. I think it's more of a drill to make sure you know your shortcuts. Okay, next question. Let me get rid of this one. Pause if you need to write extra or you need to take more time. Go back and pause it. Let's pull up the next question. And I think the rest of these questions are kind of calculator drills. I'm not sure, but this one right here is 3.529/10. Okay, what's happening? It's not. Make sure I don't have another page open. Yep, I do, right here. That's why it's not. Let's try it now. Still have another page open. Sorry. Get to that page. That page. Take it out, and now it should work. Come on. Mood for this. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what. I don't know, I've never done this before. Oh, I know what it is. I bet it's because that's why. I don't know what's going on, people. Something's wrong with the mailbox here at Tri-County. I need to get out of this one, I guess. That's why it's not working. There we go. Sorry. Now let's see if it'll work now. I wish I could edit that out, but hopefully one day I'll get something that I can edit it out with. Okay, it's just not going to work. I don't know what's wrong with it. Let me get out of both of them and go back into. Let's see if this will work. Let me go to Google and try to pull it up. I have no idea what's going on with. Let me see if I've got any others pulled up. It's acting like I've got others pulled up, but I don't. Let me log back into this one. Sorry about that. And 110 and this problem. Okay. Now, yes, these are calculator questions. So you need to get out your calculator and just say everything you know about this problem. I mean, that's it. Now, I don't care about the window. The window is not what I'm asking for. All right. Y is equal to, turn it on. And I'll tell you right now, turn the stat plot off. Make sure that the stat plot is off. Second, Y is equal, see, it's on and it'll mess you up. Turn it off. Arrow over and hit off. Now hit Y is equal. Or get out of it. Second, quit. Now hit Y is equal and clear. And punch this in. X squared minus 5.35x plus 7.155. Now, in the first couple of sections, I don't know. Oh, today is just not working. back to stat plot. Did it not turn stat plot off? It did. Okay. Well, then it should work. Second. Sorry. Go to, I must have, there it is, x squared, sorry, x squared, insert, minus 5.35x, there we go, now hit graph. And you might want to hit zoom standard, so hit zoom standard, which is 6. And that's it. And you should be able to go and find everything I showed you in the last video, how to find some things. What I'm interested in most of the time, domain. And I told you before, if it's not a radical or a rational, like x plus 10 here and x over, or 1 over x minus 10. If it's not a rational that says f of x is equal to and f of x is equal to this, then most of the time, unless it's got closed circles or open circles on the end of it, it's going to be all real numbers. Because you can plug anything into this one. So domain is all real numbers. The range, and we've talked about this in the last couple of videos, is going to be from your min or your vertex up. So it's in y values. Now, it looks like here, but I don't know because we're going to do it. It looks like it's going to be somewhere around 0. I'm just going to put a squiggle 0 to infinity. Okay, I don't know for sure about that vertex until we look at it. Decreasing, reading left to right. And remember, this is the only one, and we talked about this in the other videos. This is the only one where we're talking about the y values. The rest of them are in what? X values. X domain, X increasing and decreasing. All right, so decreasing is from negative infinity to this vertex right here, and that looks like 2 maybe, or 2.5, I can't really tell. Maybe 3, I don't know. I'm going to put squiggly 3, and that's where it stops. And then from 3, and they probably use parentheses. And we talked about that in the past videos also, to infinity. So I think we have talked about all this before, but I'll go ahead and go back over it again. So now that's what I see using my eyeballs. Okay? And that's what I want. This is what I test people on. If I test on something different than this, I don't know about it and I need to fix it on my test because I don't. Oh, one more thing. The line of symmetry always goes through the x of the vertex. So if the vertex looks like 3 and 0, so the line of symmetry is x is equal to, and I'm going to put a squiggle because I don't know what that vertex is yet, 3. Now I'm going to go to my calculator and pull up all this stuff, and I think I did that on the past videos. So here we go. Hit the trace button. And if you want, second trace. See the calculate. And I want to find the 0. Remember, you have to put a left in a left-hand area. So I'm going to go right down here, and there's my left. Hit enter. Right. Hit enter, and you can put it on either side. Doesn't matter where you put it. Just telling the calculator to zoom in this area. And there is your vertex. So that changes my numbers because I said approximately 3 is 2.65. So change this one, and change this one. Your range is from, range is going to be 0. Yeah. Range stays good because that's your 0. Yeah, y is 0. And this is going to be 2.65. And this is going to be 2.65 now. and this is going to be 2.65. So you see, just with just one thing, with one calculation, I've answered everything I need to know about this question. Now, I don't know what they're going to ask. Probably something crazy, but let's look and see what they're asking. I don't see anything different. Because the x-intercepts, that has only one x-intercept, yeah, 2 and 3. Okay, I'm not worried about the table. That, I'm not worried about. All right, the intercepts are 2.65. Wait a minute, is it hidden behavior again? I'm sorry. I thought these hidden behavior questions are a little bit outrageous. Let me pull it up and see. I wish they would put these in a section. It might be hidden behavior. I don't know, but let me look it up. Where is my... I get irritated because of these. Zoom box. And I'm going to put the box. It's one of those days, one of those days. I'm going to put the box, zoom, and hit enter. And people, y'all need to learn how to use this stuff. I don't put the box right there, top left-hand corner. Fixing to get irritated. And pull it down and pull it over. And I'm going to blow up that little section right there and see if we can find. Okay, it is hit. See, now I'm sorry. I can understand blowing it up one time and getting the hidden behavior, but when you have to blow it up 3 or 4 times, I disagree with that as a homework question. I think that's a little bit much. So I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to put a box right here. And I'm going to get a little box like right there and pull it up. See, still not showing it. So you're going to have to do it 3 times. And like I said, I think this is a little bit on the extreme side. And now you see the x-intercepts. You still don't see them. This is probably, what, the 4th or 5th time I've done this. I'm glad this is a homework problem because I wouldn't put it as a test problem. There ain't no sense in blowing up something 5 times. I think it's a little bit overkill. Okay, now I've got off of it. So now I got to zoom back. This is so ridiculous. So zoom out. And I'm just going to put it right in the middle, and it's going to zoom out too far, but there it is. I'm just going to go ahead and find my x-intercepts. So now I hit second, calculate, and hit 0. Go to your first x-intercept, put the left side bounds. I'm going to put the left right there, where it's just above the x-axis. Hit enter. Go to the right side, which is just below the x-axis. Hit enter. And then put a x right in there. Hit enter. And that is 2.65. Now I got to find the other one. Second trace, 0. Go over to the right hand, it's asking for left hand bound, so that's going to be right below the x-axis, right about there. Go above the x-axis for the right hand bound, and go to the left and look right about there. And that's your other x-intercept, 2.7. Okay, so that's your x-intercepts. Your your vertex, I'm going to check to make sure the vertex, because I'm going to make sure I got it right. Calculate, and then the vertex on this one is the min. So go to min, Really doesn't matter which one you use, it'll tell you either one. But okay, left hand side is going to be right here, and the right hand side right there, and then left. Okay, there is your vertex. So I got to change the vertex. Well, I didn't write it down yet. I don't think I did. Your vertex is 2.67, comma, 0.4 zeros, or 3 zeros, 0.0006. That's ridiculous. But anyway, so now this line of symmetry is 2.67. Domain is all real numbers. Range is from 0006. I'm going to put 0.0006 right there. Put that in blue so you can see it. And then this is 2.67, and this is 2.67. I apologize for that. These hidden, they've got these hidden behaviors so minute that when you just look at it, it doesn't. So make sure when you see this, and I didn't see it till just now, when you see that, make sure you blow it up as many times. I think I blew this one up 5 times. And like I said, it's a calculator drill is all it is. All right, next question. And all of the following questions, I kind of scanned over them, are like this question. So it's just learn how to use your calculator. So let me get out of this one and hit this one and calculator again. Okay, I don't see anything that says hidden behavior, but believe you me, after that last one, I'm going to check and make sure. So pull up your calculator. Again, this is a calculator drill. And y is equal to negative 2x to the third minus 15x squared plus 2x plus 81. Well, you know the y-intercept is 81 because you plug in 0 for x. So I'm not going to go over that graph. Now, since you had to blow it up 5 times a while ago, we need to hit zoom 6 for zoom standard. Okay, it's way out of wampus. So we're going to have to change the window on this one. All right. Why are we going to have to change the window? Because we need to do something to make it a little bit more viewable. Okay, let's look at the window. And when we click on window, X-Men, we could make the, I'm trying to think what would be best. If we made the X, Y scale 0.5, let's see what would happen. Change that, instead of 1, change it to 0.5. That didn't change it. So how about changing it to 4? Go the other way. So let's go to window and let's change that to every 4 marks is 1. See what happens then. That didn't help us. So the best thing to do is zoom out. And I'm not very good with the window. So zoom out, zoom out. Zoom out. One more time maybe. And there's the function because it's not going off the screen anymore. Okay, so now we've got to decide what to do to make it more viewable. Okay. And I would probably do a zoom box is what I would do. I'm going to do zoom box because that's what I use. Zoom box. And I'm going to put the biggest part of the box. I'm going to put the left-hand corner just above the x-axis because I'm trying to see what this thing is doing. So I'm going to put it right about there. I'm going to hit enter. And I know it's going down a good bit, so I'm going to go down to here. I see a little bit there beside the y-axis, so I'm going to go right in here. Don't make it too wide because you don't want to make it wide. And hit enter and see if that helps us. That's starting to help us a little bit. If we was to spread x out, I believe we would get a better, we need to spread x out. So let's go to window, and if we spread x out, that's going to make it, change that to 1, back to 1, and hit graph. See, it doesn't help us. So, oh, I changed Y. I'm sorry. I changed the wrong one. So, window. And you just have to play with it. That's what you have to do. Change this to 4. And graph. And once you learn how to play with it, so you're starting to see a little bit of a difference. Let's change that Y back to 4. Like we had it. Let's change that to 4 also. I'm sorry. I'm hitting the keyboard trying to work. Let's change that to 4. A little bit better. Starting to see a little bit better, but I still think that, I don't know. I'm going to change both of them to 0.5 and see what happens. Window. Go down. 0.5. And 0.5. No, that didn't really help anything. But what you can do is you can go down. I tell you what you can do. Hit zoom, the easiest thing to hit. Hit zoom and fit. That might help. Yeah, that's a whole lot better. There we go. And now you can use zoom box. Well, I'll be honest with you, I never have used the window. I never have used it. Oops. Zoom box. Let me do that again. Trying to work a calculator with a mouse is about aggravating. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get right in there because that's where I see us above the x-axis. So I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to make my box to cover all of where it's along the x-axis so I can see it better. Enter. And now you see you've got hidden behavior right in here. So I'm going to blow it up one more time. You may have hidden behavior. I don't know. And I'm going to blow it up where I see it crossing the x-axis. I see it crossing right in here. And I'm going to blow up just one more time. I think I'm only going to be able to blow it up one more time. And that's just where I see it go down on the x-axis. Right about there. A little bit better. But you see it has a max and a min. And that's going to be the problem. You got to find the max and the min. Again, you go back to second, calculate, min, left-hand side. I go over here, and again, this is the same thing that we did in the last problem. Go to the left-hand side, enter, right-hand side, enter. and guess, and put it right over here and hit enter. And that min is right there, 5.06 and 54.06. Write that down because I'm not going to write it on the board. Okay, so negative 5.06 and negative 54.06. Now that's that. Now from negative infinity to that x, it's decreasing. So decreasing values are from negative infinity to negative 5.06. Increasing from negative 5.06 or 5.07 to this vertex right here, which we're going to find that next. And then decreasing from this vertex to positive infinity. So now I'm going to find that one. Second trace, max, because that's your higher point. And now I got to go over there. Put the left and the right in. Okay, right in here is where it starts to level out. So I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to go over here and get the right side where I see it going down right there. And then that's probably on the y-axis, but I'm just going to put it right there and enter. Okay, now your increasing is going to be from that last x, negative 5.06, to 0.066, and then decreasing from 0.066 to infinity. As far as the range, it's negative infinity to positive infinity because of, the domain is negative infinity to positive infinity, which is all real numbers, and your range is going to be all real numbers because you don't have a radical and you don't have a vertex, a denominator. So now the x-intercepts, now you can find it algebraically, or you could just hit, and I'm not going to go through and find each one of them. Calculate 0. And I'm going to find this one right here. See where my arrow is? Because this one's a little bit off the chart, and you can find it. Just put the left and the right. Left bound. I'm going to go below the x-axis. Right in there. Hit enter. Go above the x-axis. With the x-intercept, that's what you're going to do. You're going to go below the x-axis and above the x-axis. Now on the calculator, it reads it as left and right. And then the guess, you're going to try to put it right on that x-intercept between your left and right arrows. And there is your vertex. Your x-intercept. Okay? And that's how you find them. I've already told you your increasing and decreasing values. I've given you one x-intercept. Your y-intercept is 81. And your domain and range is all real numbers. So what I would tell you to do is get on the calculator, get on Google, get on your owner's manual, get on YouTube, and figure out how to use your own calculator. The reason I can't teach that is because if I was to say, okay, I'm going to teach everybody how to do their calculator, there'd be one person out of the whole group, because there's always one, there'd be one person in the whole group that doesn't have a TI, that has a Casio. And then I'd have to learn how to use a Casio. And then I'd have to learn, so I'm not doing that. So the best thing for you to do is to find your own calculator's functions, either by the internet or by the owner's manual, and learn how to work it. Same type question. Okay? Now, once you learn which one of these windows to use, write it down and use it as a kind of a default. Because this one, you won't only learn by trial and error. Check answer. Okay? So you need to write this one down. Say, okay, for 2x to the fourth plus 3x squared cubed minus 20, and use that as an example. Put negative 6 by 6 and negative 130 by 10. And do several of these and put them on an index card. Because they're going to be similar. Okay? Determine the domain. Is it a radical or a fraction? Neither. So it's all real numbers. So negative infinity to positive infinity. Range is from your lowest point right here, whatever that is, let's say negative 10 to infinity. If your function is concave up, which means it opens up, then your range is from your min to infinity. Your y min to infinity. If your function is concave down or opening down, then it's from your max, or infinity to your max. Okay? Or the y value of your max. And then your x-intercepts, you calculate 0 and find it. So another calculator drill question. I think all of these are calculator drill questions. Another one. Okay, this one's kind of reverse, so I'm going to show you how to do it because it's kind of reversed. So you need to go to your calculator, and I'm going to put it over here on the right if it don't have a fit. This thing sometimes has a fit. See, there it goes. I can't. There. All right. No, now it's messed up. So now I'm going to hit Stat, Edit, and I can't hit Edit because this is so frustrating. Edit, and I'm going to clear this one. And I'm going to clear this one. Just go up to the L1 and hit clear. Do not hit delete. Okay? And I'm going to punch these numbers in for X. See, I wish it would not do that. See, every time I hit it and bring it over, it's going to take my... See, now I can't... I don't know what that is. I'm trying to get it to where I can see it. Oh, now it's done gone away. One of the reasons, no, I ain't gonna say nothing here, but just be quiet. So you're supposed to be able to move it around however you want to. Okay, I'm just going to plug in numbers because I can't work this calculator for some reason. So I'm just going to I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And I'm going to go over here to L2, and that's my Y. I'm going to plug them in. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And I'm going to hit graph. And it should graph those numbers. Okay, I know why it's not graphing. Go to Stat, Calculate, and type in 4, Linear Regression. And type in second, L1, comma, second, L2, which is 2. And that's just like saying, give me the equation of X and Y. And you hit enter. And there is mx plus b. So y is equal to 0.5x plus 4. So you go to graph. Y is equal to 0.5x plus 4. And graph. And there's your line. Okay, so that's one way how to do it. Let me go to the question and see what it's asking. Oh, this is a quadratic. I'm sorry. I thought it was a straight line. Okay, let's do it. So if I could, I'm going to have to write down the numbers. I know that seems primitive, but let's see. -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then -3.49, 1.2, 0.88, negative 4.5, and negative 12.9. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator again, and I'm going to go here, stat, and edit, and I'm just going to type in my numbers. So negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Edit. Negative 1. I have to do everything with the mouse. Negative 1. This is one reason I never use calculators. Negative 1. Thank you. 0. 1, 2, 3. And then go over to the y-axis with your mouse, because you can't use your finger or your number pad. Negative 3.49, negative 3.49, 1.2, 0.88, negative 4.5, negative 12.9. And now hit Stat, go to Calculate, and go to Quadratic Regression, number 5. Type in L1, second L1, comma, second L2, 1 and 2, and hit Enter. I know what's wrong. It's got that 23 in there for some reason. Delete, delete. Now hit Enter. There. And there is your A, B, and C, and you plug those in right there. And if you'll look at the numbers here. Negative 2.23, negative 2.23. 2.01, 2.01, 0.92, 0.92. Just plug and chug. The calculator's real. Okay? So if you've got a TI-83 or TI-85 or TI-81, you need to go to ti.com and you need to pull out your, or print out your user, or just go to Google and say, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? How to, in this one, how do I find the polynomial function to model the data? Or something like that. I'm just telling you, I'm not, I'm just saying you need to know how to use your calculator. This one, let's see what this one looks like. It's probably the same type. Okay, this is long division. I'll do this one on the board, if the board will work with me. All right, so I'm going to start it, and then you can finish it, or I don't know, I'll just go ahead and try to do the whole thing. All right, so x squared plus x to the first minus 7x to the 0. So every place is taken. Now I do this when I teach. You got to make sure every place is taken. The 2, 1, 0. If there was a skip in that, like 2 to 0, I'd have to put in 0x to the first. Long division, all place values have to be there. If not, you have to put in a 0 term. So let's look at this one. 3x to the fourth, that's 4, 3, 2, 1, x to the 0. So everything's there. So 3x to the fourth plus 5x cubed minus 38 squared, x squared minus 32x plus 126. Now, I did this yesterday, or did this other day when I went over a question. You only focus on this guy. 1x squared. Only focus on him. 1x squared. 1x squared will go into 3x to the fourth. 1 will go into 3 times. X squared will go into x to the fourth, x squared times. Now, students have a problem with long division because they forget their exponential laws. So you need to go over your exponential laws, and you need to remember that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 in the exponential slot. Okay? 1. How many times will 1, I'm sorry, I just messed it up. 3 times 3 is 1. Now, what's this one? 3 times positive 1 is positive 3. Oh, Lord, I'm sorry. Down here, now we multiply. 3x to the fourth plus, what's 3 times 1? 3. What's x to the second times x to the first? X to the third. And what's 3 times negative 7? Negative 21. And what's x squared plus, what's squared 2 plus 0? 2. And we always what? Subtract. And when you subtract, let me fix this right quick. That's the x. And when you distribute that negative, that makes every term what? The opposite sign. So that'd be negative, and that'd be positive. Now we do our adding, or subtracting, whatever you want to call it. That goes out. That's supposed to happen. First term on the left should always go out. 5 plus the 5 minus 3 is 2x cubed. Negative 38 plus 21. Well, the answer is going to be negative because the negative is greater. So 8 minus 1 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. X squared. And the negative 32 comes to help out. Again, now you go back to this number. How many times will 1 go into 2? 2 times. How many times will x squared go into x to the third? X to the first times. And now you multiply. 2 times 1 is 2. X to the first times x squared is x to the third. 2 times 1 is 2. X to the first times x to the first is x squared. 2 times 7 is negative 7 is negative 14. X to the first times x to the 0 is x to the first. You always subtract. Negative, negative, positive. And that gives us that, what's supposed to happen. Negative 17 minus 2 is negative 19, x squared. Negative 32 is negative, because it's the biggest number. And then 12 minus 4 is 8. And 2 minus 1 is 1. And the 26 comes down to help out. I'll just go ahead and finish it. How many times will 1 go into negative 19? Negative 19 times. Negative 19 times x squared is negative 19 x squared. Negative 19 times 1x is negative 19x. Negative 19 times 7 is some VA number, which is positive. And 9 times 7 is 63. Bring your 6. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 6 is what, 13? You always subtract. That's going to make this a positive, and this a negative. So your remainder is negative 19x plus 19 is 1x. And 126 minus 33 is going to be a minus because the biggest number is minus. So 13 minus 6 is 7. And 13 minus 12, wait a minute, I made that, so the answer is 7, I'm sorry. So x minus 7 is your remainder. So your answer is 3x squared plus 2x minus 19 with a remainder of x minus 7. Or x minus 7 over x squared plus x minus 7. That's it. Now I'm just going to type in a 3 because I'm not going to type all that in because I want to hurry up and get to the last question so we can get this video up. 3, check answer, wrong. Check answer, wrong. And check answer. And there's your answer. 3x squared plus 2x minus 19 with a remainder of x minus 7 over x squared plus 7 minus 7. Good. Next question. And I think this one is long division also. I'll start this one out for you. And again, it's the same type question, but you got to make sure everything is there. If anything is missing, you got to put it in. So let's look. This is x squared, x to the first, x to the 0. Everything's there. X to the first, x to the 0. Everything's there. Nothing's missing. So all you got to do is divide. So 4x plus 3 into x squared, that's 1, x squared minus 13 fourths x minus 2. So you got to worry about this guy right here. This is what I told you before. You worry about him. How many times will he go into 4? Well, 4 times 1/4 is 1. That's where you have to think of your fractions. Again, problems that students have is when they learn their fractions, when they learn their multiplication tables, they think once they take a test, they just forget it. No, you can't do that. You've got to remember those things. Just like the exponential rules, you've got to remember those so you don't say x squared will go into x squared one time. No, x squared does not go into x squared one time. X squared goes into x squared x to the 0 times. Okay, you've got to remember you add the exponents. Okay, now what product of 4 or what do you multiply to 4 to get 1? 1/4. Remember your fractions? 4 times 1/4 is equal to 1. So 4 will go into 1/4 times. X to the first will go into x to the second, x to the first time. Now multiply. 1/4 times 4 is 1x. And 1 plus 1 is 2. 1/4 times 3 is 3/4. And x to the first times x to the 0 is x to the first, which is x. You always subtract. Now again, if you said, where did 3/4 comes from? You need to go back and do your fractions. Okay? And what happens here? Well, this guy, this negative is going to make everything the opposite sign. So it's going to make this a negative and make this a negative. So you get what you're supposed to have happen. That's supposed to happen. And then negative 13 plus minus 3 is negative 16 over 4. Negative 16 over 4 is 4. And the minus 2 comes down to help out. Oops, that's a negative. There we go. Now, how many times will 4x go into negative 4x? Negative 1 time, Hubert. That's right. Negative 1 times 4x is negative 4x. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. You always what? Subtract, which makes this into a positive and this into a positive. That goes out, which is supposed to happen, and you're left with 1. So you have a 1 remainder. And that should be it. I'm just going to type in 3s again to save time so I can get this video up. 3 and 3. And y'all will see the answer in just a second. And it looks like to me that what we've done today is calculator drills and long division. 1/4 x minus 1. 1/4 x minus 1 with a remainder of 1. So, out of all the questions today, You could have possibly a calculator drill question on the test, maybe one or two if I decide to do it, if I have decided to do it. Or, now this one, you may see one long division. You may see one on there, but I'm not going to cover it with 15 or 20, in other words. You'll probably see one. Okay, I hope that helps.